Big Trail wasn't just an early Western epic. It was a technological suicide note written in 70mm film, a production so audacious and arrogant it nearly bankrupted a studio and destroyed careers before they even began. This was the film where a director lost an eye in a freak accident and kept working, where a future icon was a last-minute replacement nobody believed in, where a leading lady hid a pregnancy that could have derailed the entire grueling shoot. What audiences in 1930 couldn't comprehend was the sheer, unprecedented scale of the ambition on screen. What they didn't know was that behind the camera, the production was a 7-month-long disaster, a battle against nature, technology, and the looming shadow of the Great Depression. This is the full story of 7 Men from Now, the magnificent failure that should have made John Wayne a star and instead sent him into a decade of obscurity. Here are 20 weird facts about the film that was too big for its time, and stick around for a bonus fact about its secret experiments in 3 dimensions. Hit that subscribe button and let's blaze the trail. Number 20. The star's secret pregnancy. The casting of Marguerite Churchill as the female lead wasn't just a choice, it was a ticking time bomb. Shortly after being cast, Churchill discovers she is pregnant. This isn't just a personal matter, it is a potential production-ending catastrophe in 1930. A star's out-of-wedlock pregnancy is a scandal that could get the film banned in major markets and destroy her career. She and the studio make a desperate, secret pact. She hides the pregnancy with increasingly clever costume design and careful blocking for the entire grueling shoot. Director Raoul Walsh is in on the secret, meticulously planning shots to avoid revealing her condition. The stress on Churchill is immense. She is performing dangerous stunts on location while carrying a secret that could ruin everything. It wasn't just a performance. It was a high-wire act without a net. The child, born shortly after filming, is a living secret hidden in plain sight within the frames of this epic film. The fact that they pull it off without the press or the public finding out is a minor miracle and a testament to the studio's power in pre-code Hollywood. Number 19. The director's lost eye. Raoul Walsh, the visionary director tasked with helming this monumental production, doesn't just direct the film, he nearly sacrifices his eyesight for it. Weeks before principal photography begins, Walsh is involved in a devastating car accident. The crash shatters the orbital bone around his right eye, and doctors are forced to surgically remove the eye entirely. Most men would have withdrawn from the project, not Walsh. He reports to the set wearing a black eye patch, a look that would become his personal trademark, and proceeds to direct one of the most logistically complex films ever attempted. He doesn't let his injuries slow him down. If anything, it fuels his intensity. He is a man who has literally lost a piece of himself to this movie. The crew is in awe of his resilience. He navigates treacherous locations and manages thousands of extras with one good eye and a will of iron. It wasn't a setback, it was a transformation. The eye patch becomes a symbol of the film's brutal, all-consuming nature, a production that demanded a piece of its creator's flesh as tribute. Number 18. The doomed 70mm gamble. The Big Trail is filmed in Fox grandeur, a revolutionary 70mm widescreen process. It isn't just a technical choice. It is an act of war against the standard film industry. Fox studio head William Fox is betting the entire company on this new technology, believing audiences will crave the immersive, panoramic image. He is wrong. The Great Depression hits, and theater owners, who have just invested in sound equipment, refuse to spend a fortune to re-equip for 70mm projection. The result? The film can only play in a handful of theaters nationwide. It is like building a battleship and then having no port to dock it. The breathtaking cinematography, the vast landscapes, the epic scale, it is all for naught, because almost nobody can see it as intended. Fox's gamble doesn't just fail. It annihilates the film's commercial prospects and helps push the studio toward the financial brink. The technology that was meant to be its greatest asset becomes its fatal flaw, a beautiful, expensive albatross around its neck. Number 17. John Wayne wasn't first choice. The man who would become Brett Coleman, John Wayne, wasn't the star. He wasn't even the second choice. The role is initially offered to the handsome and already established leading man, Gary Cooper. Cooper, wisely or foolishly, turns it down. The studio then approaches their stable of young actors, testing several for the part. Raoul Walsh sees something in the 23-year-old prop boy, Marion Morrison, whom he had previously directed in a small part. He likes the kid's height, his easy stride, his unforced masculinity. He gives him the screen name John Wayne and hands him the lead in a monumental, high-risk production. It is a staggering leap. Wayne goes from moving furniture to starring in the most expensive and ambitious film of the year. The studio execs are terrified. They think Walsh has lost his mind, especially after his accident. It wasn't a calculated star-making move. It was a roll of the dice by a one-eyed director who saw a spark of greatness where no one else did. Number 16, The Real River Crossing Peril. The film's most iconic sequence, the massive wagon train crossing a river, isn't a special effect. It is a real, dangerous, and meticulously planned event. The production moved to the Susquehanna River in Pennsylvania, where they dam a section to control the water level. They gathered dozens of authentic wagons and hundreds of extras. The scene as it appears in the film is a stunning spectacle of logistical prowess. The water churns, the wagons lurch precariously, and the animals are visibly nervous. While not the uncontrolled disaster some legends claim, the shoot was fraught with genuine peril. The risk of wagons overturning or extras being swept away was immense. Raoul Walsh and his second unit director, B. Reeves Eason, orchestrated the sequence with military precision, but the element of real danger is palpable in every frame. What audiences see as thrilling spectacle is the result of a crew pushing early sound technology and human endurance to their absolute limits to capture a moment of authentic, frontier-scale chaos. Number 15, The Financial Catastrophe. The Big Trail doesn't just flop, it vaporizes. The film's budget is a staggering $2 million, an astronomical sum in 1930, equivalent to over $35 million today. When the film is released, it makes back only a fraction of its cost. The reasons are numerous: the lack of 70mm equipped theaters, the public's apathy toward epics during the Depression, and the fact that its star, John Wayne, is a complete unknown. The financial loss for Fox is devastating. It is one of a string of crippling blows that ultimately leads to William Fox losing control of his own studio. The film's failure becomes a legendary cautionary tale in Hollywood, a symbol of unchecked ambition colliding with economic reality. For years, executives whisper about the big trail when a project seems too expensive or too risky. The film doesn't just fail at the box office, it reshapes the financial landscape of an entire studio, proving that in Hollywood, you can be too big too soon. Number 14. The Sound Recording Nightmare. Filming in 70mm is hard enough. Recording synchronized sound on location in 1930 is nearly impossible. The production hauls massive, cumbersome sound recording equipment across 5 states. Microphones are hidden in rocks, in wagons, in any prop they can find. But the wind, the animals, the creaking of the wagons, it all creates a sonic nightmare. The sound engineers are in a constant battle with the environment. In many scenes, the dialogue has to be post-dubbed later in a studio, a primitive and difficult process that often results in awkward, mismatched audio. The technology simply isn't ready for the scope of Walsh's vision. The crew has to invent solutions on the fly, creating makeshift sound blimps and baffles out of blankets and canvas. It wasn't a clean, professional shoot. It was a gritty, improvisational war against physics. The final soundtrack is a miracle of post-production wizardry, a fragile patchwork holding together the film's epic visuals. Number 13, The 5-State Location Marathon. This isn't a studio-bound Western. The production embarks on a grueling 7-month location shoot that spans over 4,000 miles in 5 states. They film in the blistering heat of Arizona's desert, the sweeping plains of Wyoming, the red rocks of Utah, and the forests of California and Oregon. The cast and crew live in tents, endure extreme weather, and are constantly on the move. It is an expedition as much as it is a film shoot. John Wayne, the young lead, is forged in this crucible. He learns to ride, to handle a wagon, to live rough. This isn't a pampered actor on a set, he is a pioneer. The logistics are staggering. The company transports hundreds of people, animals, and tons of equipment across a country with no interstate highway system. It is a logistical masterpiece that also serves as incredible method training for its star, immersing him in the very world he is portraying. The film's authenticity isn't just in the props, it is embedded in the dirt under their fingernails. Number 12. The chilling villain casting. The film's villain, Zeke, is a linchpin of the story, and his casting is a masterstroke of character over stardom. The role could have gone to a bigger name, but Raoul Walsh and the producers chose character actor Charles Middleton. Middleton is not a handsome leading man. He is a tall, gaunt, skeletal figure with a deep, resonant voice that seems to rumble up from the earth itself. When he speaks his lines of cruelty and greed, he is utterly terrifying. He doesn't need to sneer or gesture wildly. His mere presence and vocal delivery are enough to convey pure malevolence. Casting him against the tall, lanky, but fundamentally decent John Wayne creates a perfect visual and thematic contrast. It wasn't a choice for box office appeal. It was a choice for dramatic impact, a decision to hire an actor who could embody the soulless greed of the Old West, making the journey stakes feel terrifyingly real. Number 11. The wagon train's authenticity. The production doesn't cut corners on its most important visual element, the wagon train itself. Instead of building lightweight props, the filmmakers purchase and restore over a dozen authentic Conestoga wagons from the 19th century. They source them from collectors and museums across the country. These are not movie props, they are genuine artifacts of the Old West, each with its own history of wear and tear. The team of historians and consultants hired by the studio ensures every detail is correct, from the way the wagons are loaded to the specific types of oxen used to pull them. This commitment to authenticity adds an immeasurable layer of realism to the film. When you see the wagons creaking across the plains, you're seeing the real thing. This dedication to historical accuracy is unheard of for a genre film of this era. It wasn't a Hollywood backlot fantasy. It was a moving museum piece, a testament to the production's obsessive quest for realism at any cost. Number 10. The secret 35mm version. Knowing that the 70mm Fox Grandeur version would have limited distribution, the studio makes a shrewd but artistically compromising decision. They shoot the entire film simultaneously in two formats: the glorious 70mm Grandeur and a standard 35mm version. This means Walsh has to set up two separate cameras for almost every single shot. The 35mm version uses different lenses and framing, losing the epic scope of the Grandeur. For decades, the 35mm version is the only one that survives and is shown on television. It is a pale, cramped imitation of the original vision. The majestic, panoramic compositions that Walsh so carefully crafted are lost. It is like watching the Sistine Chapel through a keyhole. The existence of this inferior version is why the film's visual genius is misunderstood for so long. It isn't until the 1990s that the 70mm version is painstakingly restored, finally revealing the film's true, breathtaking scale to modern audiences. Number 9. The film's two cinematographers. Capturing the vast landscapes in two different formats requires two separate cinematographic teams. Arthur Edison, a master of the new sound era, is in charge of the primary 35mm photography. For the revolutionary 70mm Grandeur footage, Fox brings in Lucien Andriot, a specialist in large format cinematography. The two men have to work in perfect sync, often lighting the same scene twice to accommodate the different film stocks and lens requirements. It is a logistical and artistic challenge that pushes the technology of the day to its absolute limit. Edison focuses on more intimate, performance-driven shots, knowing the 35mm will be the more widely seen version. Andriot, with his giant camera, concentrates on the epic, sweeping vistas that make the Grandeur version so spectacular. The collaboration is a silent, behind-the-scenes ballet of technical expertise. The final film is a seamless blend of their two distinct visual styles, a testament to their skill that most audiences never even know exists. Number 8. The talkie performance problem. John Wayne is a product of the silent era. His early film work is all about physical presence. The Big Trail is one of his first talkies, and his vocal performance is a major point of contention with the studio. His voice is deep, but his delivery is still a bit stiff and theatrical, a holdover from silent film acting where expressions were exaggerated. The studio executives are panicked. They think he sounds wooden and uncharismatic. There are heated arguments on set between Walsh, who defends Wayne's naturalistic style, and the producers, who want him to be more emphatic and actorly. Walsh stands his ground, arguing that Wayne's laconic delivery is perfect for a man of few words like Breck Coleman. He fights to protect the young actor's instincts. It is a crucial battle. If Walsh had lost, Wayne might have been forced into a vocal style that didn't suit him, potentially derailing the persona that would one day make him the biggest star in the world. Number 7. The on-set dangers and disease. The grueling 7-month location shoot was not just uncomfortable, it was genuinely hazardous. The cast and crew faced constant threats from the elements and wildlife. They filmed in the Arizona desert during the peak of summer, where temperatures soared well over 100 degrees. Heatstroke was a constant danger. In the swampy locations of Louisiana and California, they were swarmed by mosquitoes, leading to several crew members contracting malaria. The food and water were often suspect, leading to widespread bouts of dysentery. Marguerite Churchill, secretly pregnant, endured these conditions along with everyone else. This wasn't a glamorous movie set. It was a frontier expedition, and the participants suffered the same maladies as the pioneers they were portraying. The production's commitment to authenticity meant they didn't just look like they were on the trail, they were living it, with all the attendant risks of disease, dehydration, and injury in an era long before modern medicine or support systems. Number 6. Wayne's physical ordeal. John Wayne performs many of his own stunts in the film, but his greatest contribution is simply enduring the physical toll of the production. He is not a seasoned athlete. He is a former USC football player whose body is pushed to its absolute limit. He spends hours each day in the saddle, riding across difficult terrain. He helps push and pull the heavy wagons when they get stuck in the mud. He endures the same blistering heat, freezing cold, and primitive living conditions as the toughest crew members. He loses weight, his hands become calloused and raw, and his body is a map of bruises and scrapes. This isn't acting, it is a physical trial by fire that forges his on-screen persona. The audience sees a man who looks like he has actually lived through the ordeal he is depicting, because he has. This shared suffering with the crew earns him their respect and permanently instills in him the rugged, weathered authenticity that would define his star image for the next 40 years. Number 5. The film's decades in obscurity. After its disastrous release, The Big Trail essentially vanishes. The 70mm grandeur version is considered lost forever, the prints and negatives presumably destroyed in a studio archive purge. The 35mm version circulates sporadically on television in a washed-out pan and scan version that completely destroys the film's visual compositions. For over 50 years, the film is remembered, if at all, as a curious footnote, the movie that failed to make John Wayne a star. It is not until the 1980s that a film historian at the Museum of Modern Art discovers a complete 70mm print in the Fox vaults. A massive restoration project begins, piecing together the original vision frame by frame. The restored version premieres at film festivals in the early 1990s, and for the first time in over 60 years, audiences see The Big Trail as Raoul Walsh intended. The rediscovery is a cinematic event, completely reevaluating the film and cementing its status as a misunderstood masterpiece. Number 4. The Critic Who Saw the Future. Amidst the universal indifference and poor reviews, one critic stands alone. Mordaunt Hall of the New York Times sees the film not for its commercial failure, but for its artistic triumph. He praises its magnificent scenic effects and its honesty and imagination. Most importantly, he writes of the young lead. John Wayne, a lanky youth, makes an excellent impression. In an era when most critics dismiss Wayne as a stiff, awkward amateur, Hall sees the raw star power. His review is a lonely voice in the wilderness, a solitary acknowledgement of the film's greatness and its star's potential. It is a stunning piece of critical foresight. While the rest of the world writes Wayne off, Hall recognizes the embryo of the icon he will become. His review serves as a prophetic testament, a historical document proving that at least one person saw the light when everyone else was staring into the dark. Number 3. The Duke's real name. The name John Wayne is not just a stage name. It is a complete fabrication, a Hollywood creation born right on this set. The actor is born Marion Robert Morrison, a name the studio heads find too soft and unheroic for a Western lead. The story goes that Fox executive Winfield Sheehan and director Raoul Walsh are brainstorming a new moniker. They think of the Revolutionary War hero, Mad Anthony Wayne. They like the last name. For the first name, they look at the current president of the United States, Herbert Hoover, whose middle name is Clark. They suggest Clark Wayne. The young Morrison hates it. He prefers John. They compromise. John Wayne is born. It is a name that sounds strong, simple, and quintessentially American. He is billed as John Wayne for the first time in the credits. It is a moment of rebirth. Marion Morrison, the college student and prop boy, is gone. In his place is John Wayne, the movie star, even if the world doesn't know it yet. Number 2. The epic scale versus runtime. At a time when most films are around 90 minutes, The Big Trail runs for a sprawling 125 minutes. This epic length is a direct result of its grand vision. The film isn't just a story. It is an experience designed to immerse the audience in the long, arduous journey of the wagon train. Walsh refuses to rush the narrative. He lingers on shots of the landscape, allows scenes to breathe, and builds the journey's sense of scale through deliberate pacing. However, this artistic choice becomes another commercial liability. Theater owners can run 2 shorter films in the time it takes to show The Big Trail, meaning more potential ticket sales. The long runtime, combined with the high ticket price for the 70mm presentation, makes it a tough sell for a Depression-era public looking for escapism, not a long, hard slog. The film's greatest artistic strength, its epic, patient scope, is also one of its biggest commercial weaknesses. Number 1. The Great Depression's timing. The single most devastating fact about The Big Trail is its timing. The film is conceived and produced in the roaring, optimistic late 1920s, a time when bigger was always better and American ambition knew no bounds. But it is released in October 1930, a full year after the stock market crash of 1929. The United States is in the grip of the Great Depression. Unemployment is soaring. Banks are failing. Millions of Americans are standing in breadlines. In this context, A film about a long, difficult, perilous journey to find a new life isn't entertainment. It is a painful reflection of their daily reality. Audiences don't want to see a struggle on screen, they want to forget their own. The film's themes of hardship, loss, and endurance are too close to home. It is a masterpiece of absolute, catastrophic timing. The Big Trail isn't just a victim of bad technology or a weak star. It is a victim of history, a grand, optimistic epic released at the exact moment the American spirit needed comedy, music, and fantasy, not a brutal, beautiful reminder of the trail they were all currently walking. Bonus fact: the secret three-dimensional experiments. As if filming in two different formats wasn't enough, the Fox Grandeur department was secretly experimenting with a third dimension. During the production of The Big Trail, the crew shot a small amount of test footage in an early stereoscopic process. Using a custom rig with two lenses spaced to mimic human eyes, they filmed brief scenes of the wagon train to test the immersive effect. This footage was never intended for public release. It was purely a technical exercise. The results were reportedly stunning but wildly impractical. The dual lens camera was enormous, and the process required projection with two perfectly synchronized machines, a technical impossibility for most theaters. The test footage was filed away and forgotten for decades, a piece of cinematic futurism born before its time. It means that The Big Trail, a film famous for its forward-thinking widescreen visuals, was also a secret, hidden participant in the very earliest experiments with three-dimensional, a technology that wouldn't become a commercial fad for another 20 years. The Big Trail endures not as a failure, but as a monument to ambition. It is a film that was too early, too big, and too honest for its time, a breathtaking vision of American perseverance released at the moment American perseverance was being tested like never before. Every frame is a testament to the courage of its creators, a one-eyed director, a secret leading lady, and a lanky kid with a new name who refused to believe he wasn't a star. The film's initial failure and eventual rediscovery is its final perfect narrative arc, a story of a long, hard journey that finally reaches its destination. Raoul Walsh and John Wayne set out to make a Western, but they accidentally created a time capsule, a pristine example of what Hollywood could do when it dared to bet everything. The lesson of The Big Trail is that true vision is never truly lost. It just waits for the world to catch up.